in war with love. For he was called without any kind of a notice to be notified to him, but in war with love. Yes, my dear, I am living. Gabriel told his own wife that he was to leave, for a message came to him as a summon for a duty which was calling. To do what? To do nothing but to come and bring peace in another country, in another state, in another nation. The silence took place and vibrated with thoughts within the wife's own mind and thoughts again. But my dear, you kept so quiet for too long. Why you did not notify me before you prepare anything, or else you are about just to play around with the words? No, my dear, I am living. I am living. The duty is calling. I have to live. But is it not true that you promised me that after coming back from war, you will surely retire and we will have our times together? I surely promised you, and for truly again, I repeat that I'm coming back again and I will be a retired gentleman. It's fine, my dear, but again, you have broken my heart into pieces. As she was trying by all means to negotiate with her own husband, but the truth still remained that the man, the husband, the head of the family, was already called for the duty to bring nothing but peace in another nation. And he took his own barrage, he took his own camouflage, and again he said to his own wife, I am coming, my love, and I am going. And again he pulled the door behind him, and before he pulled the door behind him, she looked at him again and again without a smile, but shedding tears like leaking water through a pipe, and almost again closed her own face and again lamented in a sound of a crying. All of a sudden, the man stopped and looked again to the same face of the wife, who still remained in that painful kind of state. My wife, I am living. Just take maximum care of our daughter, and surely I'm going to be back and again, back forever, and I will retire. And it was at that time again that the same husband deserted his own kind of homestead, leaving the wife and the kid and leaving them to the airport. And again, by the airport, the plane was already there, and all other people who had their own relatives, they had accompanied to the same airport. They were holding babies, mothers holding young tiny babies, and all together again, young ones also asking their own beloved mothers and sisters, where is our brothers? Where our uncles? Where our fathers are? Where are they going? And they were told to keep quiet. They were silenced, and it was at that time again when all the guys who still remained as the army, as the military, as the soldiers who were going to face the war were about to take the steps inside to be inside the plane. And it was at that time when the silence of the airport was taken by the videos, which again broadcasted live in a television set, describing or explaining everything that was taking place, but saying goodbye to the military, to the soldiers, to the army, which was going again to bring nothing but great peace to the neighbors, to the neighboring nation. And it was at that time when tears came without any uncontrollable kind of a feeling, and tears again of those who were remaining, tears again to the brave and bravest soldiers who were already in the plane. And again, it was in that time again when the plane was on its own course and again moving, flying away to another kind of a place. And it was at that time above the dark clouds and disappearing like smoke and disappearing like this sound. And again, it was at that time when each and everyone took his own photograph, took his own wife's photograph and opened, looking at the pictures of their own beloved daughters and sisters, and again looking the other side, some were somehow opening the verses of the Bible, others taking their own Qurans, and others also again taking their own New Testament, opening the pages, some were somehow behind the back side of the plane, others opening their own mouth, bringing about nothing but being the Psalms of the same verse which says, I shall not fear any evil, I will go all around and I'll fear no death. And it was at that time again, each and everybody was speaking to her own God, and others again bring the sign of a cross upon their own shoulders. And it was at that time again, others also looking at the other side of life and checking whatever was taking place, and the plane was on its course. And it was in that time again, each and every soldier in his tears, each and every soldier again, somewhere, somehow, or trying by all means to feel the pain of living their own beloved, and again of somewhere, somehow, or going to face where life comes without any other kind of invitation, but like lightning, death comes and takes away someone. It was in another course again, when the plane somewhere, somehow, beyond the clouds, beyond the disappearing dark clouds, the plane again, it was at that time when one of the side of a wing was shot, and the plane again lamented, coming downwards to the ground, and it was uncontrollable. It was the beginning of the war. As all the parachutes tried to bring nothing but a good kind of a sound boat without any injury, without any other kind of injuries. Altogether, the same kind of the parachutes were somewhere shot, and also most of the soldiers, most of the military guys, most of the same militaries were shot, and it was the end of life, and most of them disappeared. But the same guy, the same man, the same individual, the same husband, the same guy, Kennedy, the same man is the only man who disappeared in the wilderness without any injury, without any kind of any injury again and again. It was in his own life, where somewhere, somehow, in a far beyond, a far away place, beyond any border, beyond any sea, but in another neighboring country, where he found himself to be someone who's in safe hands. It was a time, after a long time, when a man, himself, Kennedy, realized that he was amongst the enemies, like all other kinds of animals surrounded by the lions. It was at that time again, when he knew that himself, he was so lucky. And altogether again, he remembered the first month again, that he never had any intercourse of sex with his own wife, that all the whole month again he spent in the wilderness, and after coming back to his own wilderness, he said goodbye to his own wife, and everything was done in a prayer, somewhere, somehow, inviting nothing but the kind of the Almighty to be his own kind of a shepherd in the same dark corners of the world. It was after 10 years. After being rumors and lies in the same nation, that it was broadcasted that every kind of a soldier who was in that plane never met it. And all the parents, all the wives, all the relatives, all the relations, they believed because it was so true and broadcasted in an electric and wire media through ink and print and whatsoever. It was already broadcasted that no one survived in that plane. Then someone had to go on with his own life. Someone had to carry on with his own life. And someone again had to begin another new life. It was after 10 years when a man himself, Kenneth, came back to his senses. And it was 10 years again after peace had prevailed, after peace had taken its own course. And it was at that time, let I go back to where I know, let I go back to my own country. And the nation was told that there is a survivor, the only man who still remains as a hero, but the only man again is so old enough and is very old, but again is coming back to his own country, and his name still remains undisclosed, and his name still remains so secretive, and his name again remained a mystery. And again, it was at that time when he came. He was not taken to his own family, but he was taken to the same kind of the headquarters of that state where he belonged. And they took care of him. And after 10 years, everything had changed. And after 10 years again, so many things took place. And after 10 years again, his own wife was already married. And after 10 years again, his own daughter had grown up. And after 10 years again, they had forgotten about anything concerning that kind of a death. And after 10 years again, it was at that time that he was released from the same kind of a care of the same kind of the headquarters. And he had to make a move somewhere south to somewhere to somehow. And he found himself not anywhere, but next to another kind of a building where he thought, let I sit here. Maybe somewhere, somehow higher. My mind, my own thoughts are telling me to be here. And he had to sit by the same gate. And the gate was locked. While he was still sitting, a certain kind of a vehicle, a very expensive kind of a car, parked, and again by the same kind of the gate, which was still remained as an entrance of a big kind of a house. And the same driver of the car greeted the old man and asked him, "Are you all right, sir?" He kept quiet, never responded. "I am greeting you, sir. Are you all right?" And the man looked at the same kind of a driver who opened his own door slowly, getting out after pulling up a handbrake. And it was at that time when the same driver opened his own mouth, we still again had nothing but his own thick lips, and said to the old man, "How can I help you, sir?" And the man said, "Man, I've been away from this country for a long, long time, but I don't know what is telling me in my mind or in my heart. I feel there is something that is nearby here, but I feel I have to tell you my story, because what is so painful is that I promised to be back, and back I am. But I never promised to be back to you, but I promised to be back to my wife. But I don't know where she is, and what I need is your help, to help me look and check and hunt for my wife." And the man looked at the old man, and the tears were coming out after feeling those painful words. And it was at that time again the old man said, "I don't have anything to give you as a reward or as a prize to say thank you, but I will try by all means. As much as I live, as much I'm still alive, I will do anything to be with you." And it was at that time again when all of a sudden the old man opened his own gate, and they entered inside the same house. And a great kind of a message was spread, and a great kind of a miracle or a great kind of a surprise was inside the same kind of a house. And the same kind of a great kind of a house still remained, and that his own wife remained, and still again was the same wife of the same driver, and the same kind of old man departed to elsewhere. But after telling his own wife that I had promised you that I was going to come, and here I am, still look, showing him his own body scar, his own body mark, that I am still the one, and again I am still the same Kenneth, and again I am showing you that I promised my word, and I kept my word. And that's